right, we'll call the meeting to order. Item number 1, annual election of officers, chair and vice chair for the Murfreesboro Cable Television Commission. Alan?
We do this once a year. According to Section 2169 of the Murfreesboro City Code, the Cable TV Commission shall elect its chair and vice chair from among its membership. Nominations of a board chair will be given, followed by a roll call vote, and then nominations will be given for a vice chair, also followed by a roll vote. So after the nominations have been made and seconded, I'll call your name, and then you'll state the name of the nominee you're wanting to vote for. If there's no other questions, I'll call for nominations for chair.
I'd like to nominate Tommy Campbell.
Okay. Is there let's see. Okay, then I'll take the roll call vote for the chair, and each member will name the person that you're voting for. So I'll start with Campbell.
Campbell?
Okay. Heinrich.
Campbell.
Richardson.
Mr. Campbell.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Cook.
Campbell.
Brown.
Campbell.
And Averwater's not here. Okay, congratulations. The new chair for the next year will be Mr. Tommy Campbell.
Thank you.
So now
Looking forward to it.
So now we'll take nominations for the vice chair.
Heinrich, please.
Okay. All right, so I will call roll again for the vice chair for Heinrich. Campbell.
Yes.
Heinrich.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
O'Neill.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
And Brown.
Yes.
Okay, congratulations. The vice chair for the commission is Mr. Heinrich. All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Dennis.
Congratulations.
I'm so sorry. Where's my bouquet?
You're now eligible for the bump in pay. All right, next item on the agenda, consider the minutes of the April 11th, 2022 meeting. I need a motion to approve.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
A second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Move on to item number 3. Pursuant to Order 98-03, conduct a public hearing to evaluate MTSU's use of both educational access channels as they relate to the public good, signal quality, and other relevant factors. Notice of public hearing was published in the March 21, 2023 issue of the local newspaper. Alan?
Yes, starting back in 1998, the MTSU had asked to utilize their second channel that they have in their local franchise agreement. The city agreed to do that as long as we had an annual review of both the channels. So that's what we're here today to do. This has been posted in the local paper for anyone in the public that wanted to come and comment. Also in your packet, you'll find a report from each of the channels, channels 9 and 10. We also have the staff here from MTSU that will be happy to give a report to the commission as well. So you'll need to now conduct a public hearing on those two channels.
Okay, we'll call the public hearing to order. Channel 10 is first, is that correct, Alan?
Yes.
Okay. A familiar face from the back row.
I know how to hide. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about MT10. I don't know if I should be comforted or intimidated that I have my former chair in the commission and the senior faculty member in my department on the commission. I'll just think that I'm being comforted, so I'll do my best. So as you're well aware, MT10 has been a station that we have programmed for the city of Murfreesboro grow for decades. And we went through a sizable change within the last year. As you know, it has been a part of the student organizations where I've only served as an advisor. And the whole point of a student organization is for students to be left alone, to do things on their own based on what they've learned from classes. So there's been a limited amount of influence that an advisor can have. And there's a constant changeover every year. Every time new students graduate, then there are new students that come in as officers. I found that most of the students liked to make television shows. They didn't necessarily want to program or manage a television station. So we made a change last year where we made the student organization a separate entity called Blue Raider Student Television, and they just make television shows, and right now they make 3 of them a week. One of them is a sports talk news program called Sports Ballin'. Another one is a game show called If You Know, You Know, and a third one is The Wave, which is a music performance interview show. These are shows that the students determine, and they produce and they crew, and I give them advice but stay out of their way. The other part of what we did is we changed MT10's management and programming away from a student organization so that the faculty and the administration can have more influence, if not control, over what is airing on your channel. Originally, it was supposed to be a capstone class for the media management degree. When we tried it one semester, it didn't quite work out the way we wanted it to. I took it over to program it. I'm in discussions with the faculty member now for it to become an independent study of a student that's interested in programming television. And we also invested, as the report says, about $11,000 in a new a master control switcher, which is far more advanced than what we used to have. It was much more flexible, much more responsive to programming needs. And as you can see on the second page, we really revamped the programming. Instead of trying to do 24 hours a day, of which it used to be, sometimes with programs that hadn't changed in its day part for years, this changed where we're only doing 15 hours a day from 9 in the morning until midnight. And then we take a live feed from the International Space Station. Hopefully that will allow people to sleep well in the dead of night. And we have filled it with an awful lot of programming, many of which comes from Media Arts Productions, which produces football, basketball, volleyball, soccer, and softball for ESPN+. We have an agreement with Conference USA that we can re-air those games a week after their initial airing, so they're on MT10 a lot. We also have an agreement with the TSSAA to re-air the Boys and Girls State Basketball Championships, and we've been doing that. And the rest of the things that you see here outside of some specials really come out of, well, my multi-camera classes. We're teaching them how to do a wide variety of different kinds of programming, game shows, cooking shows, talk shows, music shows, and the end result of them doing a good job is that it airs on MT10. We're in the process of trying to change this. We have a new department chair, really 2 new department chairs in our college, and a lot more synergy and collaboration is beginning. And what we're interested in having happen is for MT10 not just to reflect the efforts of live production, multi-camera, which I do, but also to air student and faculty films, student and faculty animation, photography, news programs from the journalism department. We're not really limited about having class projects or faculty managed projects as we used to be when MT10 was managed by a student organization, because the whole point of a student organization is not to be bothered by a faculty member. Well, now they can be bothered by a faculty member, and they can be the result of classes and extracurricular organizations. So we've done an awful lot. I got an email today from ESPN. They have a new agreement with Conference USA for 5 years, and part of this agreement is that ESPN programs can't be aired anywhere other than ESPN, except We have an exception. Conference USA has the copyright to it after its first week of airing, so we can continue to re-air these shows. When I got the email today, I thought, oh boy, this is going to be fun, because there's an awful lot of ESPN programming that the students do on MT10, and that can continue. I think it's an exciting time. I hope that you've had an opportunity to see some of the programming on MT10. I think the quality and the variety has increased greatly from years gone by, and I hope it will continue and serve your public well.
Anyone have any questions? Then at this point, we'll call for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Alan, can this just be a voice vote, or does it need to be a roll call vote?
Actually, you need to wait till you hear from the other channel first, and then do them together.
Do them both at the same time? I apologize. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
And that would be after the public hearing is closed also.
Okay.
Good morning, or good afternoon. Good afternoon. I have so much wonderful stuff that I want to share with you, and I looked at how I timed it, and I went, oh my gosh, they're not going to be able to let me talk this long. To the Cable Commission, to our fellow stations and friends, and to our viewers and supporters in the public, I'm very happy to be allowed to talk about my favorite subject, Channel 9, True Blue TV. Before I get into the questions that you sent to us, I just want to bring out a couple of things. Where one of the clearinghouses that we share our programming with has a new statistic. I always report, and it's in the report, how many downloads we had, how many stations we had, how many states these stations were in. Well, now they have households reached. And so I looked at this new thing, and that came after I'd already turned in the report. And one of them blew my mind. Our concerts category that we share, and these are wind ensemble and Chinese and choral, they have reached 2,212,266,150 households. And I'm just like, wow! So anyway, none of the rest were that big, but it was still in the millions. It was about 8 of the categories we had were in the millions. The Out of the Blue show that we do, with a partnership with the Center for Educational Media, they were, the whole series had reached 430 million homes, over 430, almost 431 million homes. And our Telly Award show, Portraits, the first Black American divas of song and opera, by itself reached 414 million households. Now, I know that this doesn't mean that every household is watching, but this is in 42 of the 50 states, and it just blows my mind to have this statistic out of PEG Media, where we used to have the others. So I just wanted to share that. Also, I never get to talk about our students really, so I wanted to share about them. We have over 160 students that are working for True Blue TV. Majority of them in our True Blue TV event productions, and they're getting to do a lot of good resume stuff. They got to do the Judd's final concert where they got to shadow and they got to be on the crew. We've done things from the Opry House. We've done things from Ryman Auditorium. They sent back to us, in addition to everything that MTSU does at Bonnaroo, with all our sister divisions and departments and colleges and schools, especially media and entertainment. They got to do some live shows back to the station from Bonnaroo. So this year we had our marketing students, our True Blue TV students, event productions, sending a show back from Bonnaroo that we aired every day. So they're getting some really cool stuff. They do everything from production, editing, captioning, social media. They're involved in all that stuff. So we're finally getting where we can really involve the students. And, that's not something that's really part of Comcast, but for us it's a very important thing. We're now on the local BTV app. If it's localbtv.com, it's a free app. You download it on your phone. If you go to the community station tab, you'll see us. And they have a little DVR function, so if you miss it on one of our cable stations, it's on Comcast primarily, but on AT&T, DTC, and United Communications, you can see it on the app. And you can record it if you want to. You can also watch Hogan's Heroes and everything else on the app. But I want to hasten to remind everybody, if you go to mtsu.edu/TrueBlueTV, all one word, our website, you can always watch our live feed 24/7. And we've now instituted our video on demand page, where most of the events that we cover for the university, like convocation and commencements and Out of the Blue and Murphy Center 50th anniversary and all those things, are on our video on demand page. So if you don't get a chance to see them on air, then you can find them on there. Now, to get to the first question, how many hours of new locally produced non-repeat educational programming on Channel 9 were provided to Murfreesboro cable subscribers during 2022? What are some of these programs? Well, we produce and broadcast 186 television programs for 134 hours. Our ongoing great partnership with the Center of Educational Media gave us 42 programs totaling 30 hours of teacher professional development and K-12 enrichment. So we haven't lost our connection to our old, major mission of supporting teachers. Some of the cool shows that we did were, like I said, we did the convocation ceremony with author Dr. Andrew Fossel, MTSU Spring, Summer, and Fall commencements, both live and rebroadcast. They're all up there. We do the Board of the Board of Trustees. There are 4 quarterly meetings. The Judge Love is Live red carpet show that we did with a lot of partners at MTSU, including Sandbox Entertainment, Country Music Television, the College of Media and Entertainment, and Professor Gordon's, awesome truck and kids, and MT Athletics. We have a Blue Raider Extra Point show, which is a student-produced show called Weekly Show. That's a sports roundup show covering MTSU football and Conference USA. That comes to me every week. As we kind of moved into just being the station and me not just producing and shooting the shows, we're getting a lot of shows from other entities in MTSU that we can request that they shoot it for us and they produce it for us, and we're getting a lot of that way, and then we're also getting a lot from event productions of events on campus. One thing that the kids can put on their resume is that we do now event productions is taking care of all the Jumbotron shows for the football, the basketball, and the baseball. So all of those, the students are every weekend doing those shows. And we had, like I mentioned, the True Bonnaroo show that the kids sent back to us every week. For 5 days during the whole music thing. Down the rabbit hole was the 2022 TXMD fashion show, Runway Show. It's been very well received, and that's a partnership with the Textiles, Merchandising, and Design Apparel concentration that happened to be in the LRC where my control room is. They put on an awesome show every year. We've gotten to record that and take that to people. To our viewers, our cable viewers in Murfreesboro and Rutherford County, and the surrounding counties that we spread into surrounding Rutherford County. The homecoming parade, we got to do that live and repeat, and that was with the Alumni Association as our partners, and that was a blast because we got to set up 6 cameras and do a live parade. everybody had a blast. And then out of the blue, of course, with our partners, Center for Educational Media, every year. One of the, here's some for, the other part of the question was, what did you produce in 2022 that's going to appear in 2023? Well, I think I mentioned this, but the Ryman Auditorium shows with the students who are songwriter concentrations and event productions, we have people shooting the show, we have people performing, and this is with some collegiate partners and other colleges and their songwriting show. The Ryman Auditorium has allowed us to have these live concerts on the patios every Friday during the fall. And 2 years ago we did the fall, they were called Friday Fall Jams, and they were our students, and then we showed that this year, and this year we got 6 concerts, and these are full 2-hour plus concerts, as the students are doing one band, one performer, per concert. It's not a group thing. This year they're calling it the spring sidewalk session. No, the fall sidewalk sessions. And these are usually before the big concert, that's going to be inside. But they start like at 7, run from 7 to 9-ish, and it's great fun because people can just walk up, or people who are attending something at the Ryman, can stay there. They get, they got beer and stuff. It's a fun time, and you really see some wonderful talent from our songwriters. We distribute out of the blue to News Channel 5, to Comcast, AT&T, DTC, and United Communications. So far, it's been downloaded 1,042 times on PEG Media by 67 stations in 20 states. And all our programming, I think I have like 100 episodes of stuff on PEG Media. And the whole thing, Kit and Caboodle, has been downloaded over 5,000 times now, and by 648 community stations all across the United States and in a couple other countries, and in 42 states, District of Columbia, and Cape Town, South Africa. And I don't know why I can't get the other 8 states. I don't know, they just don't have TV stations or something. I'm working on it. Teleview Connect is a smaller clearinghouse, but this year we had 290 downloads by 102 community stations across 27 states, including Mississippi. Finally, got into Mississippi. Our best performing show on that is our new Telly Award-winning Silent No More, the story of American suffrage. And this covers the whole story of American suffrage, but does delve into Tennessee's great role in the 19th Amendment, in ratifying the 19th Amendment and allowing women or not allowing, but not granting, but recognizing women's right to vote. So that's been picked up by 31 stations already in 8 states. So I'm very proud about that. Second question, when locally produced educational programming isn't being cablecast, what are some of the other types of programming available to the cable subscriber? We get them from everywhere. We license, and I'll say more about that later, but we licensed 105 shows, just national shows, international shows, documentaries, series, for 68 hours. We don't just give to the clearinghouses, we borrow from the clearinghouses. And we have independent producers who are partners for over the years, that when they do something new, they'll send it to us. I got 637 new free shows for 620 hours. And these are quality shows that we're bringing to the cable viewing audience. For instance, This is America in the World with Dennis Woley. That's an international affairs program. White House Chronicle with Llewellyn King, which is a weekly news analysis show. Conflict Zone from Europe, it's Confronting the Powerful, and this is the top weekly political interview show. And these interviews are tough. They're really digging into them. It's not a nice thing. It's kind of the British style where, no, we're in your face. It's very interesting. But we also have In Good Shape for a health show. We have Tomorrow Today, which is a technology show that I'm a geek on. There's a computer show, or there's a travelogue show called Euromax. But my favorite thing is Creature Features from the Bay Area. We've been getting this for years now, 6 years now that they've been sending us the show, and we show it at 10 o'clock every Saturday night. And this is the Creature Feature show that you remember when you were a kid. And it's hilarious. It's not as silly as Swinguli, but it's a hilarious show. And then and that's from 10 to midnight. And then we have Lord Blood Raw's nerve-wracking theater that we show from midnight to 2. And then it just keeps on going like that. Like I said, our partnership with athletics has gone nuts. We're not just able to show a couple of football games. They've given me a whole new slew of football games. But this year, I just started showing baseball. So we're having some of the baseball games, and they're the ones that they're the ones that's happened recently and not just a classic. But we've also got coaches shows, the Raiders' Choice Award, the press conferences, the Signing Day live show, the Hall of Fame introductions, the Murphy Center 50th anniversary. And this has been a partnership with MT Athletics, taping some of it, and Event Productions, True Blue TV Event Productions, taping some of it. Then I have a bunch of stuff about I have multiple pages of all the people that we borrow shows from, so I'm going to skip all that. What new, if any, non-locally produced programming is being planned for during 2023? Well, we're going to keep working on that and with our partners that I've already mentioned, but as I said, we licensed 105 programs for 68 hours, and we are always on the lookout for new shows from our vendors that are interesting, informative, have an educational bent, and we plan to hit that much, or if not more, this year. This year we had I'll just say 3 shows, from the Holocaust to Hollywood with Robert Clary, the Robert Clary story. Robert played, if you don't remember, he played LeBeau on Hogan's Heroes. And most people don't know that he was a child singing star in Europe before the war, and that he was in a Nazi concentration camp as a child, young teenager, and thank goodness he survived. And then, the rest is history. And you would say, how could he go from a concentration camp to a prisoner of war show? He's a super interesting man, and this is a really cool documentary. I highly recommend it. Try to catch it on the thing. And then Harriet Tubman, They Called Her Moses, a very important documentary about a very important woman. Seniors, a dogumentary. Most people don't realize that a lot of senior dogs get given up or abandoned or turned over to paws or something like that. So there's now a group in Mount Juliet that is doing rescue for these senior dogs and giving them life, and it's just a cute, it's a wonderful documentary, a little lighter, documentary. But I would like for people to, in our viewing audience, for the commission, anybody, to give me suggestions. We have a Facebook page, True Blue TV Facebook page. We have an email, truebluetv@mtsu.edu. And I'm going to start soliciting suggestions from the viewing audience to see what more kind of content that we don't generate ourselves, but that we can get for the channel to more meet people's needs. How many months out of the year does Channel 9 programming locally produced educational content? We do it 12 months a year, all the time. The educational content doesn't stop on the station, and our productions don't stop with the summer. In fact, a lot of them happen because a lot of people are freed up, during the summer on the academic side. So we just keep going like a little, the little engine that could all year long. What new locally produced programs or initiatives took place with Channel 9 during 2022 that are being planned for 2023 for the Murfreesboro cable subscribers' benefit? Well, I mentioned the Ryman Auditorium. We are also, in our partnership with Blue Raider Athletics, we also worked with Grand Ole Opry Entertainment to do special event shows, and our big one this year was the second annual Salute the Troops at the Opry show that we did to benefit the Hazel and Charlie Daniels Veterans and Family Center on campus. And of course, out of the blue with the Center of Educational Media, and other various colleges on campus. The initiative I'd like to say, the additional initiative on this campus, on this question was, we are really still working on captioning and making in True Blue TV Channel 9 as much caption material as we can for accessibility to all of our viewers. And we were able to get on page 12 of the report, you'll see my sample week, and just from 6 a.m. to 12 midnight, in blue is the stuff that we've captioned. And I didn't caption the total info, which is bulletin boards and headlines. It doesn't have any speaking. I didn't put in blue our community bulletins, our True Blue community bulletins, because they don't have any speaking. I didn't put the concerts in because they're mostly instrumental. So if I did all that, this page would really be blue. It'd be almost totally blue. Like I said, we're working on the athletics, but we're getting the coaches' shows captioned. But we were able to pass our target of 65%, and we got to 70.6%. And so, of course, I don't think that's good enough, but we're happy that we passed our goal. And the last question is, from a technical standpoint, how is the channel monitored and what procedures are in place to respond to technical issues, such as this channel being off the air or in black or frozen for extended periods of time? We made a major investment in 2021 and finished our renovation in 2022 this year, where we now have 2 servers. We have a main server and a redundant server, and they're programmed to where if for some reason we lose the signal on the main server, the redundant server is already running and it just switches the router and you don't see a thing. So that takes care of a lot of it, but we still have eight offices across campus that have the channel turned on 24/7 up on a big TV, and our students are in the control room and they see it. It's in my office, so we notice. Believe me, the vice president notices, and the president notices when it doesn't. When it's like, where'd the station go? So if something did happen, they would get in touch with me, the senior manager. I would work with Bridge Digital, Comcast, and the server people, Playbox USA, to rectify whatever the situation was. And in the evenings, the True Blue TV senior manager, me, I've got an Xfinity subscription, I've got Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, and the internet, and I just check it at home, and I can remote desktop in, if we have a problem. But again, with this redundancy, and I also put some pictures of our kids and the new monitoring in the back. so you could see our renovation. I asked Alan, I said, do you think that's cool? And he says, don't put it in the report, you know. So I snuck it in the back. But anyway, that is all I've got. I didn't go over the criteria. I'll be glad to if you need me to. I've got all the shows that we did or people did for us that are in the back pages, so you can peruse those, see what kind of events. We've pivoted a lot to MTSU Alive events, but we've really made an effort, like with our partners, to keep this not just all about MTSU, and to really be a benefit to the community. Yeah, that's it. Does anybody have any questions?
Anybody?
Talk your ears off.
I just had a question about live content, and how many hours of the year do you think it's truly live broadcasts?
I'm going to say the convocations take a big chunk of that, so I get like 20 hours out of that, and then the board meetings are live. But overall, all of these are single events. The president's speech at the beginning of the thing is live. We did the tennis court groundbreaking. We did the concrete building ribbon cutting. We did the Murphy Center 50th anniversary. That's a good question. I'm going to have to go back and add that up. But I'm thinking maybe 23% of it.
Yeah, I work in a lot of live, and that's a different beast, and for experience for the kids, it's a different way about making television. There's a difference between going to tape to going live.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and the guys in event productions are used to live, and some of the things I'm trying to help them with is I come from more of a production in the studio, or E&G, or film style kind of shooting with ISO cameras and edit it later. So working with them and showing how they do that part. But the live, I got to say, they're cranking, and especially with all these shows that they do now that they do the Jumbotron shows. Those are pretty much fully produced shows, and they're just, they're doing that. They're doing multiple of those things during the season all week, and now they're doing baseball with a smaller crew. But that's a good question. We've gotten kind of into that. But I tell you what, with Professor Gordon's truck and his kids too, with event productions are him, if I get a show, I know it's going to be good. The quality's going to be good. It's going to be professional. The kids do a phenomenal job. But yeah, we are moving into more. Our vice president really likes the live stuff. Great. And we're moving more into it. But then again, that balance. I'm also trying to get my, my Happy Dolphin show in the evening, and my PBS-like kind of stuff. Right. But yeah, it's more and more live, and I see more and more come down the road, because there's a lot of stuff. If we just could get the budget, we would do.
I have nothing further.
Get it? Okay. Anybody else have a question?
No question, just a comment. I'm new to the board, and I took over from Ms. Barton, a wonderful individual. A couple things. Local government works. It's incredible. Maybe I'm a giant nerd, but I love this. I enjoy the feedback. I enjoy the information. I enjoy the partnership between the city and the university and the commission. It's important work. It's incredible work. It's good to see and hear how much is going on behind the scenes, how it's improving, how it's constantly being monitored and led, but yet supervised. Thank you very much for what you've done and what you continue to do, and I look forward to hearing more and more live opportunities, as well as more programming opportunities. But this is just incredible. I'm glad to be here.
Well, thank you. I didn't mention that one of our big partners this year is the School of Journalism and Media and Entertainment, and those kids are very go-getting, and have fed me a lot of programs too. But we're able to get them in the journalism aspect, and that's a big part of the stuff that they do at Bonnaroo. Don't really have much on the government. You know, kind of a little bit since the station is MTSU. You know, we have to stay out of certain areas. But as the kids reporting, you know, I'm hoping someday I can do more with that. And one of my dreams is doing some local news, because the community station is now the only way that you can really get community news. I still got my D&J subscription, but the newspapers have faced a horrible time, and they were our local news. And so it's kind of falling onto the community stations. Since I'm an educational station and not a community access, there's some things I can't do. But you know, the thing is so cool is I'm at a place where there's a lot of experts and there's a lot of kids that are really talented. So I'm in a lucky position. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other questions? And I guess at this point, we'll close the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion to approve Channel 9 and Channel 10.
For an additional year?
I'll move.
Second?
Second.
So how do you want to do it, Alan? Roll call or
Just do a
just voice vote?
voice.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Congratulations to you all. Every year, I always challenge you to just do better next year, and you've continued to do better every following year. So it's great to have that available for Murfreesboro and other areas. Thank you for your work. Next item on the agenda is to go to staff reports, right, Alan?
That's right. Just a few here. Since your last meeting, we received 5 complaints on some Comcast issues. They've addressed those. I provided those in your packet. Also, I've included in your packet the narrative to this year's council's budget for the department. I thought since you heard from the MTSU's channels, it'd be good to, this is a good overview of not only what's going on in communications, but for the City TV. This year marks the 30th anniversary of City TV being on the air. So this year we've started providing a little bug at the bottom of our program that says 30th anniversary. We'll be doing a couple of promotional videos throughout the year and just other little videos highlighting the fact that government programming has been here for the past 30 years. I think it's a pretty milestone mark. We haven't really ever promoted an anniversary date, so the 30 years is kind of something new we're doing this year. Some of the things in the packet, I just kind of want to go over a few things of some accomplishments we've had over the past budget year. We implemented some closed captioning, so now all of the boards and commissions that we televise, those are all being captioned, and it's being done automatically through some software. So it's a fairly inexpensive process. Years ago, when we used to do it, we would have to pay someone off-site to listen and type things in. Now it's with the technology, software allows us to do that. So we began doing that this year. It takes place live, so when meetings are taking place live, the captions show up, and they also will show up on the replay. They're also available on video on demand, so City TV's on Comcast, on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, the city's website. We implemented apps on Apple phones and on Android phones, so you should be able to get the closed captioning of the meetings on there as well. We'll kind of see how that goes. We may expand out to include all the other programs that we're doing as well. This year we increased coverage of live events through the community. We were able to procure, we budgeted for a multi-camera mobile production unit that allows us to cover things like the Christmas parade. This weekend we're going to be covering Read to Be Spelling Bee that's taking place at Patterson. So that'll be something that we'll do live and use this multi-production unit there. We collaborated with public safety, with the fire department to do some public safety videos during their fire prevention month. We're working with the Employee Services, it's also known as Human Resource Department, in producing quite a number of internal and external videos. We produced last month with the mayor, the state of the city. We used to do that on a quarterly basis a number of years ago, and now we've moved that to sort of an hour show that's a sit-down with our public information officer to kind of talk about things that happened the previous year and things that the city's looking for the coming year. So if you hadn't had a chance to do that, you might want to take a look at that on the video on demand sections to watch that. It's a really informative program. We got into doing podcastings a few years ago, and that's kind of taking off. We're going to continue kind of expanding podcast, but a different area delving into instead of just on TV. This past year, City TV won 5 National Government Television Awards from the National Association of Telecommunication Officers and Advisors, and staff also won 2 Telly Awards this past year. Some of the goals for this upcoming budget year, we're looking at making some improvements to the website. Along with City TV, the department is also responsible for maintaining the city website and keeping it updated. We're going to be replacing some outdated audio and video equipment that we've had for a number of years, that it's time to start replacing that. And just kind of developing some new programs and working with other departments on kind of helping get their message out to the public. That's kind of what I have for the commission. If anybody has any questions or anything for me, be happy to answer it.
Any other business to come before the commission? Seeing none, I call this meeting adjourned.